Hi there, a very warm welcome to the Voice of Boxing, episode 5. I think we're on now, in association with the brilliant Lounges TV. I'm Adam Smith, and earlier on I was joined by one of the most intriguing characters on the scene right now. His name, Michael Lukali. You might know him better as Michael King. Your Highness and Your Highness Jr. joined us here in the studio, and it was the life story where he began in the Congo, where he's come to in Britain, the homeless situations, the tough battles that Michael has already been through. He is now embarking on what should be a fantastic and exciting career in the welterweight division. You don't want to miss Michael King on the Voice of Boxing. Welcome along, episode 5 of The Voice of Boxing, and we're bringing you all sorts of characters in this wonderful game around the pugilistic sport, whether they are promoters, trainers, fighters, cornermen, people behind the scenes, people in front of the cameras, people in the ring or around it. And today we have, I think, one of the most inspirational young fighters in Britain today. He's got a fabulous story, but he doesn't come alone. His name is Michael King, Michael Lukali. He's Your Highness, and he has Your Highness Jr. with him. Michael and his monkey, welcome to the Voice of Boxing. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Adam. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Are you both excited?
We are, actually. We are excited. You know, we were coming in today. We're just talking about the weather in the UK for this couple of days, yesterday and today. Actually, it's been good, so we are excited.
So he's sitting with you, the monkey. We've seen him in the corner. We've seen him in ring walks. You lit up York Hall last time on a magical GBM show night. I don't really know where to start because your story is a fabulous one, a difficult one. As I said before, an inspirational one for so many youngsters out there. So listen carefully to a lot of what Michael says today. But let's start with the monkey. Why? You talk to him. You are always with him. What's the idea behind it?
I mean, it's really deep, the idea behind having a monkey, but I'm going to break it a little bit short. In 2020, I had this epiphany, like almost crazy, because we had lockdown. We couldn't speak with people. And I enjoy talking to people, like I enjoy just interacting with people. And then I got to a point where I started having COVID. Therefore, I needed to be isolated. It was crazy for me. One day, I went to IKEA, just like that. You know, it's pretty much like this love story. You see, when they say a boy meets a girl likes him. But it was pretty much me and the monkey. You know, I saw the eyes. Just look at the eyes of a monkey. I looked at his eyes. I heard it calling. His eyes were just calling me. We connected, and then that's where the story began, really. And then every time that I go through anything emotional, every time I go through anything that I can't really talk to anybody, because in this day and age that we're living in, you can't trust anybody, you know. And then monkey for me is that person that I run into, I just talk to. And it's fun. He's a good listener, proper good listener.
There's trust.
There is.
And there's not much trust sometimes, is there, in this business?
Like, with people, like there is not, because you can't really see what they're thinking. You don't know what they say behind your back. I know for a fact he says nothing behind my back. I can tell him whatever I want. And he listens. And sometimes he talks back to me, but most of the time he listens. I'm the one doing the talking. He's just listening. Like, as you can see, he's there, chilling, staring at you, pretty much.
It is bizarre. It is surreal, but you hear those stories in boxing. IKEA is not for me. I'm not a DIY man. I don't like it at all. But I do have a teddy bear, which I've had since I was very young. So I do sort of get that connection, that support, that familiarity, that safety cushion, the comfort blanket, a little bit of that.
A little bit of that, yeah, a little bit of that. Like for me, now I'm a little bit more confident in what I do, in whenever I talk. But this hasn't always been Michael King. You know, I grew up very shy. I struggled with pronouncing word. It was hard for me to talk 1 minute without stuttering. And then, kids are very horrible. Kids are very terrible. In Africa, we have this, I don't know if it's real, but it happens. You can actually feel it. Whenever you stutter, if they show you like a charcoal, trust me, you won't say a word. You will struggle like, you won't say a word. So that was me growing up, having friends. Whenever we play, let's say I say something, but I said it wrongly, they laugh at me. Or when I start talking and then I start stuttering, they will show me that. And then these people, they're supposed to be my friend. We're supposed to have fun. Having these images in my head, it plays down your self-esteem. You know, it puts you down, and I had to grow through that.
Tell me a little bit about that childhood in the Democratic Republic of Congo. What was it like growing up? As you say, there was difficulties with confidence, I guess, and the family around you. Just talk us through those tough years.
I mean, I love Congo and all of that. It's a great country to be in when you have a little bit of money. It's not like in here in Europe, like we have these middle classes and we have like classes of a living. Over there, we have the poor. They are very poor. The richer are very rich. And then I was unfortunate to grow up in a poor family community. For me, dreaming big was not part of the option. Like I grew up seeing people that wake up in the morning, just go to hustle, do whatever they gotta do nearby so that they can have food to feed their family for that day. Tomorrow was not even a question. We lived today. And then, for me, I really struggled with confidence as a child. Even just feeling loved was a bit hard for me because my dad was not much like around in the house. He had to find a way to put food on the table, which was hard. And then, when you're a parent and you got kids and you can't really supply their needs, sometimes some parents, they tend to really act very angry toward their kids because they want to, but they can't. And then, I saw a lot of violence growing up. And that also put my self-esteem down. But one thing that I learned from a young age was work ethics. I learned it from a young age. I started working from the age of 8.
Really?
To support my mom, support to try and put food on the table.
What were you doing at 8?
I've done everything. There is like in the Congo, we got rivers nearby where I was staying. I would go in the river. I can't swim, but I still go in the river or dig the sand out and sell it to the local construction for the construction site. Sometimes I'll go work as one of the helper in the construction site. Sometimes I would sell, water, like in those sachets. Like basically everything I can do in order to make a bit of money to just help the family. I started doing it from the age of 8 years old.
How big was the family?
I mean, I've got 3 siblings, including me, 4, my dad and my mom. Yeah, so that was us. And then we lived very far away from the other family because my mom's side and my dad's side, they live very far away from us. So we were very isolated. The only closest thing that we had was church. And then when they left the Congo to the UK, I didn't come with them. I was denied a visa. So bear in mind, when they left, I had to stay there by myself without a house. I was basically homeless. I tried to stay in churches, but in Africa, when you stay in church, it means you're just staying outside. And I was very young. I had to find a way to provide food for myself.
How old were you then?
I would say maybe 14.
And everyone had left?
Everyone left, yeah. Everyone came to the UK for a better life.
And how come your visa wasn't?
That's the $1 million question. I always wondered why. Don't know if it was a test, but they denied the visa. My dad came here first, and then I was there with my mom and the siblings. One day we went to the embassy to collect the visa. All of us were excited. We went there. they handed my mom like the envelope. She started giving everyone their visa. And then it got to me. She gave me my passport back. There was nothing. I started crying. It was terrible. I started crying. My mom should try to tell me, just, no, it's fine. Yeah, it's all right. We're going to call you every now and then. We try to stay in touch.
That must have been so hard for your mum.
It was hard for her. You know, she had me when she was 16, you know.
Wow.
You know, she had me when she was a child. Even growing up, I always thought my mum was my sister and my mum was my grandmom. So me and her really have a close relationship. It was hard for her to leave me behind, but she had to leave me behind because there was nothing she could have done for us in Congo.
A better life here.
Just a better life here.
And then what happened? So you were 14. You were literally homeless in.
Literally homeless there, just surviving, doing anything I could have done to put food on the table.
Did you know what you wanted to do, or it was, as you said, it was a day-to-day thing?
Yeah, it was a day-to-day thing. Like in Congo, one thing that really helped me through everything was my faith and just believing in God. Like I said, I was staying in churches, and I was serving as one of in the choir, like I was playing the piano and stuff. So for me, that really helped me to just have a little hope that one day I'm gonna be united with my family. But it was terrible when it was terrible. Like, you know, when you live in a community, there's always stories that goes around. You know, people, they'll come up to you, they'll be like, wow, your parent left you. They're all gone in Europe. I know somebody 15 years ago had a similar age like as you. Their parent left. It was supposed to follow them. But it's been 15 years. They're still here.
No.
So they start telling you all this story. And they really start playing with your head, with your mind. I remember I started losing weight. I started losing blood. I started losing water because I was thinking too much of it. And then there was a time where, I don't know, they told me I spent about a week. I was unconscious. I woke up a week later just because I wasn't eating. I was just losing things in my body because I was thinking I'm never going to see my family again. Never going to see my mom, my dad, my siblings. It was very tough.
How did you get food? How did you survive?
Like I said, my faith just got me through, just thinking that, one day I will see them, But
on a day-to-day level?
The basic, I was just crying. That was me. I was just crying every day. Whenever I'm by myself, I'll cry. Again, I had no one to talk to. Even when I tried to talk to people near me, when I started to like, they'll make fun of you. And I didn't want to talk to nobody. I'm like, wow, what's the point of me talking to you when you're going to make fun of me? I got to a point where I'll be in a room and you will never even hear me cough or even breathe. I'll just hold because I don't want anyone to look towards me, potentially laugh at me or make fun of me.
Tormenting you, really?
Basically. And people.
And friends weren't friends.
No, they wasn't friend. No, they'll laugh. They'll be like, yeah, we love. But they think to each other, wait, we're gonna game. And then you see that, you know, they're not trying to hide it. They want you to know that this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it. You got nothing to do.
School?
I tried school. I tried school, but somehow, for me, every time I go to school, it was like, have you ever felt like you're okay when you're not in a particular place, but as soon as you get there, you just lose interest? That was me. When I get to school, somehow, I just want to sleep. Somehow, whatever the teacher says, I just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I had this thing where it's not like I was dumb, but I was learning on my own pace. But in Africa, when you learn on your own pace, it means you are dumb. It's not like in
But
here.
you're a smart guy.
Yeah,
just talking now.
Basically, yeah. Like in Africa, that's not like they don't teach people like as individual. They don't look at your needs. Maybe you need extra time. No, if you can't keep the pace up, you are dumb. And that was me. Like I was just a little bit slower than the average child.
And there wasn't a help for that. There was no support.
There was no support. It was like, you got to do this now. Right here, right now.
So you didn't enjoy that.
I didn't enjoy that at all.
Afterwards, when school would finish or before in the morning, where would you go?
I mean, before I was going to school, and then it got to a point where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore because it just makes no sense. You know, going to school, it's not fun.
So were
Plus,
you working as a teenager? Did you then just get
I would,
jobs?
I would just working, like I say, like working construction, doing manding the sun, bringing it out, going there to help, and sometimes selling anything that I could sell. That was just day to day. And sometimes I'm working in those construction sites, not for money, just working so that at the end of the shift, you have food. But that's what they were doing sometime in Congo. Like when you're helping, you come in the morning, you do your work, around 5, the work is finished, they give you food. They don't
Right.
actually pay you money, they just give you food to eat. So that's the sort of thing I was doing sometime. And it just worked. It worked.
Survival.
Survival, yeah.
What about your health?
That's the thing. When you're in that situation, you don't even think about your health. You just think of the next hour, the next meal. That's everything was in my head. Oh, how can I eat today? What do I need to do to eat today? That was the only thing in my head. I didn't really care about my health, mental health. I was not aware of mental health. I was not aware of things that I'm aware of right now. I just had to find a way to find that food, whatever it takes.
And you thought that one day you would be reunited with your family and that you would get to the UK or get out of that situation. So when did that come about? 14, you were pretty much
Yeah.
abandoned. What happened next with that?
Yeah, my dad kept on persisting, and then
With a visa?
the visa. Eventually, they gave me a visa, but before they did give me a visa, they sent like a letter to my dad. You need to stop doing that because they're not planning on giving me any visa. Potentially, they might consider, but after 10 years. But my dad didn't listen to them. He kept on persisting. Eventually, they gave me a visa. I came to the UK. I was 16 and a half, something like that. Yeah, I got to the UK.
And then what? Where were they? In London?
Nope. Newcastle. It's a funny story. It's a long
Wow.
story. It was there in Newcastle, yeah.
So you're a Geordie, really? Then you became...
I never really landed in Newcastle, maybe after fighting there later, many years after. But what happened, when I was leaving the Congo to the UK, my dad decided to leave Newcastle to come to Nottingham. As I was coming in,
So they started in Newcastle.
they started over there in Newcastle with my family.
Did he find work?
He found work eventually. He found
Okay.
work, and then they gave them a place to stay. They had like a maybe 2-bedroom.
Yeah.
Everything was perfect, set up for me to come and enjoy. But he decided, nope, I don't want to stay here anymore. I want to move to Nottingham. As I was coming, he had nowhere to stay in Nottingham. As I was coming, he spoke to one person. I don't know how they met, probably by train or I have no idea. He's another Congolese person. And this guy has 2 daughters and a wife. And then he has 2-bedroom. He said to the guy, I want to move to Nottingham. I don't know how to move there. The guy said, oh, you can come to my house maybe for the weekend and then I can help you find a place. Go to the council or anything like that. So my dad decided to bring the entire family with him. Left the house in in Newcastle. As he came there, the guy had no idea I was coming. So I think I landed maybe on Friday, something like that, in Nottingham. The guy was like, well, you got a son? I didn't know that you have a son that was coming. It was crazy. Anyway, the guy started telling my dad, you guys can't stay in the house because there's too many people. I got 2 girls. There's only 2-bedroom. You've got 4 kids and your wife. You can't stay here. Anyways, the next week, he put us out. So we had to leave his house, be homeless outside.
So you're in Nottingham.
In Nottingham, homeless. That's just a week after me coming to the UK.
And so how long was that for?
So we were outside for probably a couple of days because what happened when he put us out was on a Friday. We went to the council place. And then when they put everything on the system, they found out that my dad is not homeless. My dad has a place in Newcastle. They said to him, we can't do nothing for you right now in Nottingham. You can go back to Newcastle. They will give you a place. In here, the only thing we can do for you is if you have a bill for money, you put a deposit, we can help you pay. But you are not homeless technically. African parent, they're stubborn. My dad was like, we are homeless. We don't want Nottingham. We don't want Newcastle. We want Nottingham. They're like, sorry, we can't do nothing. So they tell us to go out. My dad told us to go outside and just, this is the door. So he asked us to just stand there, literally sit there. We sat there all night. It was on Friday. We was there in winter actually with all the kids. I think my youngest sibling was maybe 5 or 4. We sat there outside with my mom. Everybody, me, I was always laughing because I was just happy to see them. So even though my mom was there,
You were reunited.
I'm just like, this is good. At least I can make fun. I like making fun of my sibling. Just crack some jokes. I was just cracking jokes. My mom, she's like, "Why are you cracking jokes? We're outside. You're supposed to be serious or cry or anything like that." I'm like, "This is good for me. I love it." But it was winter.
And you've done a lot of crying back home in the Congo.
Oh, I've done all my cryings. I'm like, I'm done with crying. I'm just happy right now you guys are here. But it was tough. It was very cold, very cold outside. First time experiencing winter.
Of course.
So
different world
as well. Different world. There's good people in this like on this planet. There's good people. There's a person that we never met. The next day, Saturday, it was just passing by. I think maybe he saw us the previous day.
So you're sitting there?
Maybe he saw us sitting there with the entire family, with all the bags that we had. The next day, he came and spoke to my dad because at the time I never spoke English. Speaking with my dad, blah, blah, blah. He asked my dad what's happening. My dad explained the situation. Now the guy said, okay, because we are on the weekend, they don't open until Monday. So this guy spent his own money from his pocket. He brought us to probably Travelodge, I don't know. He paid for everything. He was bringing us food, McDonald's every day to eat. Until next day, Monday, because his English was better than my dad. He came there, spoke to these people, and then they made sort of an agreement. I don't know what they did, but maybe this guy put on a bit of his own money. They got us a place, and then the government was helping pay for the rent for a while. Until my dad decided again to leave Nottingham to come to London.
Kindness of strangers. The kindness of strangers.
Yeah,
right
but
there.
this guy, like, every time when I think, I'm like,
do you know who he is now? Do you know?
Yeah, now I know who he is. Yeah, now I know the guy. Yeah. Last time I went to Nottingham, I went to see him. Now
That's brilliant.
Before he didn't have a family. Now he's got a wife and probably 4 kids now. And then
blessed, eh?
Yeah, bless him, man. Every time I see him, I really
no English, of course, when you turn up. So you've got to learn a new language.
How did
that come about? Did it just happen, or?
For me, I would say it was more about I changed the way I really saw things in the world, because in the Congo, I didn't want people to even see me or even know that I'm in the room, because I knew they would make fun of me. When I came into the UK, as I was coming into the UK, I started saying to myself in my prayers, if God allows me to leave the Congo and come to the UK, I'm going to be a new man. I'm going to transform my life. I'm going to learn how to communicate with people, how to talk to people. That was me as a youngster telling myself. So when I came into the UK...
So you knew you wanted to sort of better your life.
I knew I wanted to be a different person.
Did you know what you wanted to do?
No. For me, because I grew up in just living like on a day-to-day thing, I was really too bothered about... Because even when I was growing up, people like, all the youngsters, they asked them, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a doctor. I want to be this and that. For me, I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to, I don't know, make people laugh or make myself laugh. That was just me. I didn't know what career path to take. That was not in my head. But as I was living the Congo, I wanted to be able to communicate with people, because I could not talk with people for many years.
Because of your stutter as well?
Yeah, I'll be there just like there, quiet, or not, just looking down, just being very timid. I didn't like that person. I wanted to become a different person.
So what changed when you got here? What then happened? You were in Nottingham.
I'm in Nottingham, and then my dad again tried to enroll me in school to go learn ESOL. I don't know if you heard of ESOL. Mm-hmm. It's like people that are foreigners, they learn English. I tried that for a bit. It didn't work. Like, I will leave the house, happy mood. I'll see the campus. Somehow my mood will just change, and I'll become even dumb.
A bit like back in the Congo, that you just didn't really work.
A bit like that. And finally, I think I was watching a program. It was a kids program, like CBBC, I think. And then there's this guy. I think the website, it's called Bite Size, something like that. On that website, it actually teaches you how to speak English. So they pronounce, and then they ask you to repeat after them. So I found that website. I said to myself, this is my opportunity. So I started learning English from that website. I started learning words. Maybe I'll use one word. I'll learn how to spell it, how to pronounce it, how to use it in the sentence. And that took me a bit, like maybe, I don't know, 9 months. For the time I got to Nottingham until we left to come to London. So I was learning every day, teaching myself English. And then by the time we left Nottingham,
So you always had that commitment. You had that.
Yeah,
You wanted to do it.
I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it because I was so, I've heard this. I heard this saying once, and then it made sense to me. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger said it. He said, until the pen of change becomes greater than the pen of remaining the same, you will never change. I wanted to become a better person. And for me, I wanted to know the path to take. I was willing to put on the work. When I saw this bite size, whatever it's called, I said to myself, hang on a minute, this is it. I started learning. I became committed. I became committed. I started learning. And by the time we left Nottingham, I was able to talk to people. Even before I even spoke English, I started working. I'm like, I need some money because somehow when we got to Nottingham there, my dad didn't want to work anymore. He just didn't want to work anymore. We were just like, nope, we're here. We're paying the benefit of the kids, so we're going to survive. I didn't want to work, but I didn't want that. I wanted money. I wanted to be able to go out and with my friends watch the movies or, I don't know, eat KFC or anything like that. But he couldn't give me money because the money we've got is enough just to buy food for the home.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to go work.
What did you do?
My first job was kitchen porter. Funny enough, I don't know if these people, they abuse me, but they were paying me £2.50 an hour.
£2.50 an hour?
An hour. And they said to me, take it or leave it. You got to work 11 hours a day. Take it or leave it.
In London?
No, that was not in London. Nottingham, yeah. Even when I moved to London, I found another job that paid me £3.50. Same thing in Bexley Heath, South London. £3.50, kitchen porter, 11 hours a day, take it or leave it. Again, my dad didn't want to work. I was the oldest son. My mom couldn't really speak English at the time yet. I started to speak English. I'm like, we need to support the house because this money that they're paying us as the benefit is not enough. Yeah. My dad is like, I ain't working. He just doesn't want to work. So I had to step up, start working again. Yeah. To support the family. I started working again, and then boom, KFC came my way. I went from £3.50 to £6.50 an hour. I was the boss.
I bet it was.
I was the boss.
Absolutely.
I was loving it.
So it was KFC?
Yeah, KFC was the first job that started paying me like proper money.
And that was London?
Yeah, in London.
Whereabouts are we now? I'm fascinated by this story.
My first job that I got...
I hope you're enjoying this, because isn't this... I mean, it's just... It's miraculous, really.
My first job that I got working in KFC was South London, Peckham.
Peckham?
Yeah, the one in Peckham High Street.
And where did you live at the time? Where was the...
We lived in Abbeywood, near South London, there, past Woolwich Arsenal. Okay. Near Thames Plumstead. Yeah. We lived there. Yep. We lived there at the time because we just came to the UK, and then we're looking at places to go. I mean, we came to London, actually. We're looking at places to go. The first couple of months in London, we were again homeless. My dad loves it. I don't know why. He just loves to... My dad is one of those person that he would just sit there and be like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. I'll go to a new country. And then he would take all of us with him. Boof. Just like that. So we went from Nottingham, not having a place, to London, not having a place. He stayed in Tottenham because he loved it. He stayed there for a while. And then they sent my mom and the siblings there to South London.
So they were split up?
Yeah, they started to have issues from Nottingham already in their marriages. Okay. And that also was not good for us, for the kids as well. It was terrible. Yeah. I remember as the oldest son, like, it's crazy. When everything was going wrong, my sibling would come to me like I'm the referee or somebody, like, what's happening? I'm like, I don't know. We all saying this is...
Well, they're looking up to you, aren't they? And yeah. I guess, and you were working and you were trying to...
Yeah, that's the thing. So they were looking up to me because if they need anything, they was coming to me for money, for advice, for anything. I'm like, I have no idea. This is doing me heading. You know, I don't like seeing my dad and mom fighting all the time. It's not fun, but yeah, they're kids. I was like, like I say, I was 16 and a half. My other sister that's after me. She's like 3 years younger, and then the other one is maybe 12 years younger. So I was the oldest, so they was all looking up to me. I had to sort of like comfort them and just tell them that I don't know what's happening, but we can't do nothing.
So again, it was sort of a day-to-day survival in a different country.
In a different country, yeah.
You were
Different
working
country.
in the fast food world. You were getting a bit more money than you had.
Yes.
What was the feeling then? You were late teens, and did you keep yourself fit? I mean, obviously we're going to get onto the boxing shortly, but what was then? What was the ambition then? Had it changed?
It's crazy. Every time I think about me even training every day, like it fascinates me. I'm like, really? Because before that, I hated sport. I remember even when I was in school in Congo, whenever we do PE, just the fact that I'm jogging, running and sweating, somehow I used to cry a lot when I was young. I don't know why. I would just start crying and they ask me, why are you crying? I'm like, why am I sweating? I just hated training with a passion. That was me as a youngster.
So what were you? Were you overweight as a kid? Were you eating all the, as well as working in the KFC?
I was overweight when I was very, very young, like less than 10. But when I got to a certain age, because of lack of nutrition, I became very, very skinny and all of that.
Then you're skinny. And then when you came here?
When I came here, I remember throughout all my career at KFC, when I left there 15 kg over than I was when I left. Because I was eating every 2 hours. Just, I'm hungry, make a burrito, hungry, take a few chicken. I got fired for that, actually, for just eating all the time.
So they got rid of you for eating too much of the...
But they fired me at the perfect time, you know.
Where did you go? So you were in Peckham and then...
So I was in Peckham.
How long was your KFC career, Michael?
It was a long time, damn. I was in Peckham, and then they decided to move us to West London, to White City, Shepherd's Bush there. And then when we came to
it's not far from where we are in Acton. I know you spent a bit of time around there.
I spent a lot of time. That's where I started even boxing in over there. So they moved us to White City. And then there's a KFC right there in Shepherd's Bush.
I know it.
And then I went there. I was like, oh yeah, I've been working at KFC. Back at when I first started working, I was in the kitchen.
I wish I'd known you there. Maybe I'd have got a couple of free chicken sandwiches or something.
Oh my God, my family used to love me.
You had them all.
My family would literally come to KFC. I'll be like, you guys see that this is your table. Or give them buckets and buckets. They will eat like on KFC or something. And then they will go home. I got fired. I think they done a good job to fire me. They done a good job to fire me.
So then what? So then you're out of work, or you're thinking, what are your parents saying? So
in here, my dad is still, because we're not living in the same house, but still, like every time we talk to my mum or anyone, they want me to go to do a bit of studies.
Your dad's in Tottenham.
Is in Tottenham.
Your mum,
White City.
White City. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're still there. You're now fired from KFC. So what are the prospects? What's the future?
Before even I get fired from KFC, before I get fired from KFC, I see boxing for the first time, because that's when I saw boxing, as I was in KFC. I was just...
Hang on a minute. I'm going to stop you there, because Lawrence Okoli, we know the story. He was flipping burgers in McDonald's, way overweight. He saw AJ at the Olympics. He said, I want to do that. And look where he is today, a two-weight world champion.
Yeah.
You're in KFC and you see boxing, what, on a television, or what happened?
It's crazy. It was actually a church, a church. Normally we have like this meeting where it's like a Bible study meeting. We sit down and everybody talks about maybe their day, what they're up to, what they're looking, what they're watching. Now, in my head, I'm thinking, I got maybe 2 hours to spare here. After this, I go to work, because I started working like close to from 80 to 100 hours a week. I was doing crazy hours.
Okay.
I was just working. I got 2 hours to spare. I can give it to God. And then I got to go back to work. Anyways, now I see this group of beautiful women in church that was going at the time talking about fighting. I'm like, damn,
really?
This is interesting. Because before that, I never fought in my life. I never even killed a fly. I never done anything like violent like that in my life before. I was just, doing thing at church.
I'm not really into any sport.
No, I'm not interested about sport. I don't want it. Why should I?
So there's a group of ladies.
Beautiful women. That's really what attracted me. I'm like,
beautiful women.
Beautiful women talking about fighting. And not just that, they're also talking, yeah, there's this guy, he's not really a boxer, but he's gonna fight this guy that never lost in his life. Now I'm like, hang on a minute. I went there, I started talking to them. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? They're like, yeah, this fight's gonna happen soon. And they started telling me more about the fight. The more they talk about the fight, the more I became interested. And then I went online just to check it out. And then I see they pay, how much you're gonna pay them. I went crazy in my head. I'm like, hang on a minute, is this for real? Because I know
Who are they talking about? Like AJ or
no, Conor McGregor
Conor
fighting
McGregor.
Mayweather, Floyd. That's the fight in 2017.
Huge.
That's the fight that really got me like thinking, like, listen, I
The
want freedom.
crossover fight.
Yeah, I want freedom. That's one thing that I value more than anything. I want to be able to spend the time with the people that I want, do the thing that I want. But I was working, making money, but I never really had time. I was young there. Just for me, it was just okay. I work. But I thought to myself, hang on a minute, I can do this for now, maybe for the next 5 years. After that, I'm gonna get tired. I can't do this any longer. So I saw how much you're gonna make. I'm like, from this point forward, I'm a boxer. I start doing things so that I can get fired. So once I get fired, I can now say, oh, I didn't quit my job, they fired me. So I needed a reason to really quit that job. So I'll tell my mom, are you hungry? She's like, yeah. I'm like, come to KFC. I'll give her food. I'll call her friends. I'll be like, are you guys hungry? They come. I'll give them food just so that you can tell me, like, what are you doing? And that's what I started. And then, one of these beautiful women, like in the group, I went there. I'm like, oh, do you like boxing? She's like, yeah, there's this gym that I go do a bit of boxing. I'm like, really? There's a gym? Please tell me. She starts speaking to me, and then she gave me the address. I went to All Stars in West London as well, near Kilburn there.
Famous.
I went there for the first time.
Yeah.
And then the way I went there was crazy. I remember I was wearing my sister flip-flop, like those, this pink thing that's they were puffiness there. I just couldn't be bothered anyway. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go try this boxing anyway. Let's see what it's all about.
Inspired by Conor McGregor
by
and Floyd Mayweather, by the multi-millions.
Yes.
That you thought, okay, get fired from KFC.
Yeah.
Whoop, and I'm going to, as I knock my water over, get fired by KFC.
Yeah.
And you are going to make millions boxing, and you've never done anything
like that.
Never thought about it.
Never thought about it. Never even crossed my mind. I'm just thinking, oh,
this is 7 years ago now. Yeah. 7 years ago, first time going to the gym in the pink flip flops.
Yes.
How good were you, Michael?
I was crap. I was like, I was like a sack of crap. I was so bad that I think that's also what really got me back into the gym, because I remember the first day that I walked in with those pink flip flop. All the coaches from the amateurs started laughing at me. It just gave me that little bit of nostalgia when I was young. I'm like, ooh, this is a challenge now. Because before, when people was doing it to me, I wanted to hide. But now, as they was doing it to me, I felt like, oh, they're testing me now. They're trying to laugh at me. I've felt this before already. So they started saying like, wait, have you fought before? I'm like, no. Have you had a fight? I'm like, no. Have you had any amateur fight? I'm like, what's amateur? They all start laughing, blah, blah, blah. They're like, you've come here like you know how to fight with pink flip flop, and you haven't fought, and then you want to be a professional fighter. I'm like, that's correct. And then it was a long story anyway. They said to me, you gotta be amateur first. And then they introduced amateur boxing to me. I listened to them because I wanted to get somewhere. I didn't know how to, but they told me they are the people that can lead you there. I listened to them, and then I trained there for a couple of months. I was terrible at boxing. I hated it so much. Like sometimes I'll finish sparring because I didn't tell my mom that I was boxing at all, because she would think I'm crazy. I'd never even slap my siblings. So imagine me fighting. She'd be like, you, my son? Never, ever. I never told my mom, but I'll come back home sometimes from sparring, like my nose is bleeding, black eye, like every time or every morning before she wakes up, because she always wakes up early. I'll do something like some movement so that when she comes, I'll be like, oh. She'll be like, what's happening, Mom? I hurt myself. Because if I don't, my mom, she like to talk to me a lot. And she will be very worried. And then, but at least if I bump
your face
into something,
is battered, bruised, and you've just got to make something up.
Yeah, I'll make something up. For her to just because she couldn't even if I tell her mom I'm boxing, she won't believe me unless she sees me doing it. Yeah, I'll be like, oh, mom, I hurt myself, blah, blah. And that happened every week.
So
week
you were
in,
rubbish.
week
You
out.
didn't really like it.
Yeah, but I only kept coming because the coaches, the trainers, they was calling me names. They calling me, oh, this guy from Congo is a turkey, is a because my footwork was so bad. They was calling me a mermaid. You know a mermaid?
Yep.
Just think of a mermaid. That's how they when they're not in water, they're like this.
But you'd had that back in the Congo as a kid. You'd had criticism over the way you talked and the teasing.
So because of that, back when in the Congo, for me, whenever I hear that, I was like, I'm going on my shirt. But because of that, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna show you guys I'm not any of this thing you're saying. I'm not.
Because you're
I'm
in
not
a different
turkey.
place.
I'm a different person,
Right.
different place. So I'm gonna keep on turning up. I kept on turning up, week in, week out. I think it took me maybe 4 months or 5 months or something like that to have my first amateur fight. I kept on coming every time. At first, I was getting battered by people in sparring. And as the month went on, I started to beat them up. And then I started to enjoy a little bit. Improve my skills. I had my first fight. I won it. And then I went on to fight 13 more times after that. And then I was like, this is not what I first started, I started because I wanted to be a professional fighter.
So you had how many amateurs? 13?
14.
14.
14 amateurs.
How many did you win?
I won 10 and I lost 4.
You see, it reminds me a different way of how Johnny Nelson started. He had 13 amateur fights. He lost 10, won 3. They turned him pro. He lost his first 3 fights. I know you lost your first 2.
To you, yeah.
And Johnny ended up somehow sort of working his way through with Brendan Ingle, and they became world cruiserweight champion, and Johnny reigned for 6.5, 7 years, 7.5 maybe, and 13 defenses. Yeah, incredible story and a massive turnaround. He didn't think he was any good. So it just goes to show that commitment, dedication, discipline, a want, a desire can overcome so much, right? 100%. If your footwork was like a mermaid.
A mermaid. When I first heard them, like, a mermaid? Really? And when they say it to you, like, they mean it. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to All Stars. Like, some of the coaches were there. They just like they on you. They don't try to sweet talk you. They think you're crap. They tell you you're crap.
Traditional
basically.
Gym.
And for me, I was like, really? Why are you being mean to me? Like, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let them do that. I'm just gonna turn up and just improve on. One of the coaches will pull me on one exercise. Sorry, just for my footwork for like. The session was lasting like an hour and a half. For an hour and a half, you just do that. And then you leave me there and go teach other people.
So you had 14 amateur fights. You wanted to go pro. But what happened with the family? Because I know there was an issue there with your dad and everything, and it led to what happened and where you ended up living. Yeah.
Eventually, as I was doing the amateurs, my dad kept on being on my case about studying and all of that. And I said to my dad, oh, Dad, actually, I don't want to study because now I want to be a professional fighter. I want to be a boxer. He laughed at first when I told him that. He's like, you fighting in your dreams. But he kept hearing, oh, your son is fighting, winning some, losing some as an amateur. He's like, oh, maybe this is serious. But he kept telling me, you've got to go university. I'm like, Dad, I don't want to go university. And then eventually my mom didn't have any place anymore, so I had to go back staying with him. And then eventually...
your mom knew you were boxing at this point?
My mom never knew I was
Still
a boxer.
Didn't know.
Until like I joined Peter, that's many, many years ago. She never knew I was a boxer until... even when they would even my sibling would tell her I was a boxing, she just thought, maybe he's just doing... training fitness.
Right.
My mom never knew, maybe until 2 years ago.
Wow.
Until 2 years ago, yeah.
And your dad, so at that point, your dad said, you want to start, I want you to study.
My dad said to me, I'll give you an option. It's however you study, you stay here, big room here for you, as big as this. Stay here, do whatever you want to do in Tottenham, study. Or you just leave my house. Give me an option. And then I knew...
So you're on your own?
Oh, yeah, it's basically you're on your own. I knew for a fact, like, if I go study, I'm going to do something that I don't want to do because I never really had anything in my head to do. I find boxing. I'm enjoying it. Although it's not working my way, but I think I can become good at this. But he doesn't want me to pursue it. unless I go to university. I'm like, okay, that's no problem. I just left the house. I became homeless.
Where did you go?
At first, when I left the house, I didn't really have a place to go, so I was just spending time at the gym. Yeah, spending time at the gym. Some of the gym has showers, so just spend time there. Some of them opened early. Some of them don't open until the evening because it's like an amateur gym. So I find a way to just go to different gyms, and then I got to a point where I was just.
What about at night? Where did you sleep?
No, and I slept everywhere. I slept in everywhere you can think of. Like there's time where I started to go to A&Es, hospitals, just to. I sit down there. I'll sit down on the bench, as if I'm waiting for my name to be called, and I'll spend the night. In the morning, I'll wake up, go train like I slept in a bed, and then nobody would know about it. Like I'll go spa. I remember I was doing some crazy thing with training. Like because I had nowhere to stay to spend my time, I'll just travel some 2 hours one way to go train, do a sparring or whatever training is here for an hour and a half, and then another 2 hours back. So that would take pretty much all my day. So that's how my day was going a bit faster. So I'll spend the day on the train that I don't even pay, just gonna go through the barriers, go do the training, come back. That's how I really
And slept anywhere you could.
Anywhere I could, really, anywhere I could. And then I think.
And if it wasn't hospitals, shelters, or
sometimes I stay in shelter. Sometimes like my friend, they have like cars, and because they're living maybe in their mom's house, can't really go in there. Sleep in the cars, spend the day there, spend the night in the cars, and sometimes for food, there is these food banks, like every little places that have food banks. I'll go there, have the food like in the cans.
I've started working in a food bank.
Yeah,
actually in Acton.
just getting a bit of food there, and that's how I really survived as well, for many years.
And the thought was still in the back of your mind was that McGregor Mayweather. That kept you going.
That kept me going because I remember even when I first saw that, I said to myself, I sort of weighed it in my head. I'm like, I can work because I had KFC. Yeah. That was me thinking, I'm like, I can work at KFC for 10 years. I'll always need to work. No matter how many hours I work in 10 years' time. Because I saw people that was telling me that they worked there for 20 years. And they're like senior managers, blah, blah. But I'm like, these people still have to come every day and work.
Yes.
So I said to myself, imagine doing that for 10 years, still going to have to work. But if I do boxing, there's not a chance of me making anything. But if at least I make 1 million, I know not only my life changed, but all my bloodline changed because I grew up very poorly. Making 1 million means I change everything from me and everyone that I'm going to have as kids. I changed everything. So I gave myself 10 years when I first started it. I'm like, in 10 years, if this don't work, I'm still going to be young. I think I was 19 and a half, close to 20 when I first started boxing. 19, I think, yeah. Something like that, close to 19.
Now what, you're 26?
2027 in December, so 26.
Okay, so you're 26.
Yeah.
Okay. You've had 7 fights.
Yeah, 7 fights.
And you lost your first 2.
Lost my first 2.
And you just kept going, and now you've got 5 wins. You found Al Siesta.
Yeah.
Who's obviously one of the most linked men in boxing. And you're on a big GBM platform. With Your Highness Junior, with a wonderful sort of showcase, great entertainment. I know you've tried your luck a little bit at comedy. I know you play the piano. I know there's lots about you. There's different facets to Michael King. Why Michael King? Was it just a sort of stage name? Did you just think I've got to be entertaining as well? I've got to make make an attraction for myself? Was that the thinking?
To be fair, I'll give prop to El Siesta. I think this guy has the brain of a genius. When I first started boxing, because I was so bad that I had to give myself a name. I'm like, okay, what name can I give myself? And the only name that I could come up with was Your Highness. So although my skills was very shit, but I thought to myself, I'm gonna call myself Your Highness. I'll call myself. I feel like I'm supreme. I'm the top, the creme de la creme. I started saying to myself from the day I was crap anyway. So that was my boxing name. And then El Siesta, we sat down one day, was telling me, oh, people, they can't pronounce your name. People, because in my country, my name Lukali is the closest thing to Likaku. When you translate Likaku, it means a monkey. And then he started telling me, oh, people, they're calling you weirdly, they're pronouncing your name weirdly. What can we do to just sort of like, put your name out there so that anyone can say it? And then he thought like, oh, so you call yourself Your Highness? King. Boom, Michael King. And
Michael King, Your Highness. The monkey comes along too.
Yeah.
You're making people laugh. You're making people sit up and take notice.
Yeah.
And I was hearing about you from sparring, from all the different welterweights. You've been with everyone, haven't you?
Yeah, I think it's crazy because I have sparred anyone from lightweight to heavyweight. It's crazy. And they
To
are
heavyweight?
Professional fighters.
Give me some names, top names that you spar with.
I'm really bad with names. I can't lie. I don't know why. Really bad with names. I'm terrible. I suck. I don't know why.
You've been in with Conor, haven't you?
Yeah, we shared some
Chris
rounds.
Congo?
Yeah, many rounds. We sparred with him. I think I sparred this Russian welterweight. What's his name? David.
Avanesian?
Yeah, I sparred him as well.
How do you do with them?
I mean, it's good for me.
You're not rubbish anymore,
No,
are you?
no.
You're getting better.
Getting better, yeah, 100% getting better. And even back then when I sparred them, it's not like I went there and I got myself beat up. If I did, they wouldn't call me back.
Of course.
So they called me back many times because I gave them good work. And then I sort of like tested myself, like, because I got to a point where nothing was going good for me in boxing. I started to question myself, do I still need to carry on until the 10 years come, or do I need to call it a day? I started to ask myself those questions.
And you lost your first two.
I lost my first two, yeah.
Is that just because training wasn't right, or maybe you were put in as the opponent, or because it's tough, yeah? You haven't had the amateur fights.
Yeah.
You haven't got the big backing at that point.
Yeah. It was more, I mean, it was both ways. Training wasn't right. I was just doing my own thing. I was put on as an opponent as well. And also my mindset, as when I came into the boxing, I had this sort of like a pussycat mindset. Like, like a pussycat, they're like, meow, I'll train whenever it's convenient. Meow, I'll go do this. I had that sort of mindset. I think I had to become a lion. Like, I had to change my mindset. And then I heard this story once, yeah? Once I heard it, after my losses, it changed my head. I'm like, I need to look at things differently, This story goes like, it was in the jungle. Was upon a time, there is a fox and he sees a rabbit, and the rabbit looks so delicious. He's like, I'm gonna catch this rabbit. The fox follows this rabbit. Day 1, they didn't catch it. Day 2, he tries, they didn't catch it. Day 3, they didn't catch it. Day 4, they didn't catch it. Day 5, they didn't catch it. Day 6, they didn't catch it. On day 7, the fox is like, damn, I'm tired. So he walks to the rabbit hole and decide to speak to the rabbit. It's like, how come I've chased after you for 7 days and I'm not able to catch you? What is your secret? Please tell me. And then the rabbit decides to answer. And then they say, Mr. Fox, even if you chase me for 100 years, you will never catch me. And he asks him, why did you chase me? Why were you chasing after me? And the fox replied like, oh, because I was hungry. He said, no, tell me, why did you chase after me? He said, because I was hungry. And then the rabbit said to him, you was chasing after me because of your desire, but I was running for my life. Things change when you have a why, and when that why really hates your heart. For me, before I was interested, I saw Floyd fight Conor McGregor make all this million. I was interested, so I wasn't really committed to it. I wasn't really focused. But as soon as I went through those losses, I had to ask myself a question. I'm young. I believe I've got potential to do anything and support myself financially. Do I really want to do boxing? And I started to answer those questions as the year went on. And then I started doing things differently. I started seeing things differently. I remember at a time I had this pussycat mindset. I was going through things, And then from my losses, I started growing for things. I'm not just going through it, but I'm growing. I'm becoming a better person. I'm understanding better. I'm taking knowledge, experience from people. I'll go wells. I'll go whatever is it to spar. In my head, I'm thinking, I'm going there for a purpose. I start to already envision El Siesta. Back then, I didn't have his name, but I was thinking to myself, there will be a person that will look at me, like what they see, and will be willing to put on the assets for me to have everything that I need. I started to just manifest it. And that was the belief, that was the extra fire that I needed to just keep on going.
Someone to believe in you. You don't know how good you are. You thought you were rubbish. You thought there was some potential.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest, in and amongst the GBM discussions, we don't know how good you are. What do you think is the plan? How far can you take this extraordinary journey? I mean, I've got to say, Michael, it's an absolute honour to have you on, and it's just been fascinating to hear all of that, and huge congratulations for where you've got to in your mid-20s, having gone through all of that. But in the fighting world, you still got that, the millions, the Conor McGregor. What are you? We've seen you a couple of times on the GBM show, a very quick win with power. The next time we see you at your call, another win, but you take punches. You're almost having a sort of fun in there. You're taking risks. We're trying to assess you. We think your ring walks are fantastic. There's obviously something really exciting there. How far do you go? What level are we going to... Do we know?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Do you know?
It's interesting.
What do you think? Are you domestic level? Do you think you could go up towards European or world class? I mean, that's sort of... I don't know. I'm asking you. What do you think?
It's a good question. Like, I 100% agree with you. And like they say, everyone, they are entitled to their own opinion. Myself and my team, we see each other every day. We know what we're working on. I personally believe right now, as we speak, I'm not domestic level. I believe I'm European level. I'm not world level yet. I'm not going to be honest. But I believe I'm European level right now.
You think every welterweight in the country's got trouble with you?
Basically, anytime, any day, I think I stop most of them. Not just I beat them, but I believe that I'll box them and eventually stop most of the welterweight in the country. I put myself there at European level because I still believe I need to learn my experience through the ring. Like you said, last time I fought, there was something in there, but I still got hit. Because the way I see it is, this is boxing, we don't test our chin, we don't chance thing, but it's like you're going in a swimming pool with the mindset of not getting wet.
We don't want you in a swimming pool again, because I've heard the story. I don't know if anyone of you heard. Michael's full of many other stories. We haven't got long enough to go through all the tales. But if you catch him around the boxing fraternity, ask him about his experience in swimming.
It's crazy.
It's not a high point, really.
It's not.
Not a high point. Okay.
But the moral of the story is, it's like you're trying to go in a swimming pool.
He nearly drowned.
Not wanting to get.
Nearly drowned. So we're lucky he's here today.
Terrible.
You're on safe ground, we hope.
Yeah, I am.
In the studio here, in the voice of boxing. We
I
won't
like
have you near a
walking.
pool just yet again. You're an amazing character, and I really want you to do well, because
Thank you.
it's just such a fantastic story for the youngsters. It's an inspiration to anyone coming to Britain. It's brilliant that you've survived, that you've got through those incredibly tough moments where you almost rejected what your dad said, and your English is brilliant now. Your brain is fantastic. You're smart. You could easily have gone down the education route, going to university. Could have become the doctor maybe, or the medic, or the accountant, or the whatever you could have done if you'd had that sort of ambition. But you've been drawn into the boxing world. You've had this bizarre sort of thing with Conor McGregor. You've worked in fast food a little bit like Lawrence Okoli. You found El Siesta, who thinks the world of you. You've got this GBM platform, which has now got this big DAZN deal. We're in Coventry,
Sweet.
June 29th. Nice. You're not on the card, but you'll be there. Of course you'll be there. It's a fantastic card. We can't wait. The likes of Danny Quartermain and Niall Berry, Hughie Furion, Kieran Malloy, who could be an opponent for you down the line. Tin and Bradley, some fantastic fighters. GBM really gathering momentum, and I think giving opportunities to people like yourself, because if you look at the record and you say 14 amateur fights, 5-2, you think, okay, he's okay, but he's not going to go anywhere really. But the mindset you've got now, the training team, the fact people believe in you, you've got yourself together. You feel that you can deal with anyone domestically at welterweight because you sparred with most of them. I mean, the world's your oyster, isn't it?
It is right
This
now.
could be an incredible ending, this story.
Do you know what? Do you know what I'm even more fascinated about is the people that I'm working with, GBM, LCS Star. LCS Star is just so connected, man. Sometimes I sit down with him, we're just having a coffee, and I hear this guy talking to connection from Japan, from Mexico, from Africa.
He's
from,
everywhere.
From Russia. I'm like, who are you,
I
man?
know, I know.
For me, it's all about.
I call him
said
the
to you,
Russian spy or the Soviet spy because you
Something
never
like
know.
that.
He's like that, isn't he? He's all over the
is.
place.
He's
He
all
knows
over the
everything.
place.
Brilliant guy, Al Siesta.
He is.
If you
Top
haven't
man.
met him, you get hold of him. He's the very good-looking, suave, sophisticated, well-dressed guy that you always see dotting around at ringside.
First time I met him, I thought he was French. I'm like, are you French, by the way?
I don't think he wants. He could be anything. Al.
could be anything.
couldn't
Could
he?
be
But he's a
anything.
great guy, and as well, like you, a bit of a. He's a pianist. He's got all
Yeah.
these qualities as well that people don't know. But he's very bright,
He's
very
bright.
charismatic, and he's looked after you.
Brilliant. Like I say, like I started to already, manifest him in my head. It only took me so many years to actually meet him. And when I did meet him, this guy went beyond. When you have a manager, they just do the bare minimum, what they got to do or what's in the contract. But this guy really treats me like I'm one of his son. Me and his family, we got a good relationship. I know his wife, his kid. I spend a lot of time. Sometimes
He's
they
got
cook
twins,
me.
hasn't he?
He got twins.
Twin boys.
They got twins. They don't look alike.
No, very different. I've met
Different.
one of them.
Yeah.
They live in Southampton.
They do, yeah.
Is that where you're based now?
Yes, now I'm based there. Got me place to stay, way to move around. Like I'm actually
There's something
enjoying
about
it,
you.
yeah.
There's something about you that I think, and it's not just Your Highness Junior next to you. There's something about you that is infectious, and I think that people are warm to you and want to be around. And it's not. The story is unbelievable, but it's more than that. I think it's something inside you. It's a quality that you have that I think will stand you in very good stead as you develop through this part of your life.
Thank you.
But the boxing business is tough.
It is tough.
And it's you've tasted defeat already. You know there may be harder battles ahead in the ring. You've had many outside of it, of course. What is the plan for the rest of 2024 and 2025? And where do you see yourself going?
I mean, I'm trying to fight as much as I can because I spent so many years no fighting, just training. For me, 2024, it's just about being active. If I can get any title, I don't mind it. But for me, it's not really in my head. Like I said, I started for the bigger picture. I want to be able to get to a point where I can make this life-changing income. That's the goal. But I got to go through in order for me to get there. So for now, I'm willing to fight every single time that I can. And that's the plan with El Siesta. So we're trying to fight as often.
How good do you think you are, and how good do you think you can be?
I think I can be all the top welterweight in the world in the next 18 months. Like I'm aiming for Terence Crawford, for the champion that's fighting this Russian guy, Janis Ennis. I'm aiming for these people.
Great fighter.
In the next 18 months, I believe
You think you can get to those sort of levels?
In the next 18 months, I believe I can. Having El Cesar with me, and if we're fighting regular, if we're having 5 fights or even more in a year, I believe by the time we finish this year, I'll be in a good level that next year I can push on really to be at the level that I think I am right now. I think I'm European level. I just need to prove it to the people. So I think this year for me, it's all about getting that momentum, fight, win, finish it next year and start really challenging for those belts that I will really defend, prove that I'm European level and step it up.
Lots of fighters have trouble at the beginning of their career. I refer back to Johnny because I know him so well. He had times where he froze in world title shots. He was too young. He wasn't ready. He went around the world. He picked up a lot of experience on the road. He came back and remained undefeated, I think, in 30-odd fights over a number of years. So even if you do taste another defeat, because you've had 2 already, it's not going to stop you, is it?
For me, defeat doesn't bother me at
No.
all. In fact, sometimes I know it sounds a bit bad, but I'm like I said to you, I'm trying to grow through things. I'm like, I want to test another defeat because the only time you really seriously, the only time not lose.
But
a
I
fight.
was commentating on the York Hall show,
Yeah,
and I was
I'm
thinking,
like-
I'm
I'm
not
like-
quite sure. He's totally in control of this, but it's almost like he wanted to
I'm
make it
like-
harder.
I'm like, maybe that. Listen, you learn through everything.
I'm
that
like,
you do.
Michael, tighten the
Sometimes you don't
defense.
need
What's
it,
going
yeah.
on here?
Yeah,
But it was like you were sort of almost
almost.
like teetering.
Yeah, almost. That's the key word, almost.
Almost.
Which we don't need to, but almost.
No.
But for me, like, even if it does happen, because this is not a game, but in a way, it's a game. You lose some, you win some. For me, losing is part of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be testing victory after victory, but not really wanting to test defeat.
I think that's a great attitude to have. So few fighters retire undefeated. I look
Not
at my
interested
great
in
friend
that.
Joe Calzaghe, 46-0, and Joe, I think, one of the greatest, if not
He is,
the
he
greatest
is.
fighter to come out of our shores. But did he really beat Robin Reed? There were times Floyd Mayweather. Did he really beat Castillo the first time? Tyson Fury obviously just lost to Usyk, but did he really beat John McDermott the first time? There is some luck involved. There are moments where things just go your way. So I think that attitude of taking a defeat, taking it on the chin, absolutely, you learn from it. You move forward.
That's it.
I was talking to Tiernan Bradley, who's undefeated, just yesterday, and he was saying, if I get a defeat, that's it. You know, the guy's maybe better, he's trained hard or whatever. We go through and we move on. I think that's a fantastic mindset to have because you've had so many other hard fights, so to speak, outside the ring. So many difficult situations. You've come such a long way. You know, you're eloquent now in not your native language. You've managed to find a support base. You've got a great team around you.
Fantastic.
And you're still young.
I'm still young. The way I see it as well is like, think of it this way logically. It's like, imagine you have prepared so much for that interview for a job, and you go there, all of a sudden they say like, you're not qualified, they don't give you a job. Do you go on and kill yourself? You don't. Let's say like your girlfriend dumped you, break up with you. These are the losses that we encounter in life. You don't end your life because you have encountered them. You just take them and move on. And that's how I take anything in my life. Like boxing for me, like I said, it's a chapter, it's a journey. I want to embrace it, do the best that I can. But if I do encounter another loss, I don't mind it. It is what it is.
And you say about changing yourself for the better. I hit rock bottom with my cancer. I was on the floor. I nearly didn't make it last year.
Serious?
With my bladder cancer, right? I nearly didn't make it. I was out for over a year. But it was a massive challenge. And getting through that and being back with my family, it's like, okay, I've got a different perspective on life.
Yes.
I'm grateful to be here.
Yes.
I'm happy to wake up in the mornings. It's not just a stress, and it's like, this is a day. And it changes you.
And I love
it changes you a bit.
I love the word you use, perspective.
Yes.
Because it's all about perspective.
Yes.
You know, it's all about perspective. Like we can both look at the same thing, but if you're looking at it with this attitude, with this, this feeling or this emotion, it alters how you see and how you behave as well.
Absolutely. And I think we can all learn every day because everybody gets things wrong. Everybody has difficult scenarios.
Yeah.
I guess it's how you deal with them. And I'm grateful just to be alive and here doing this today.
Yes.
You're grateful to
I'm
be
grateful.
where you are.
100%.
And to have good people around you and to be on a journey.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up, Michael, by saying, will you become a world champion?
I'm going for everything. Fame and fortune, world champion, whatever is on this journey, I want to test it. I'm going for everything. Like they sing, starting from the bottom now. I know I started from the bottom, and anything that's on the way, I'm taking it. Everybody, anyone. Of course, in due time, I don't have stupid people around me, but I've got that willingness to put myself through a challenge. I don't mind if I come out short. I don't mind that, but I'm not going to back up of any challenge.
And Your Highness Junior will be there right by your side.
He's there. Every time he's the one that tells me crazy stuff. He's like telling me to even think of the thing that nobody have ever thought about. He was telling me not him, but obviously I was listening to somebody the other day, and it was just talking of it was talking about the unused potential, and it was saying that in the world we have human beings are the most human beings do not really tap into their potential because they kept on creating excuses. They kept on making excuses even when there's no excuse. Because of that, we die with this gift that we've got. And somebody said that the richest place on earth is the graveyard, because people go in their graveyard with that idea that they should have done something, but they've never really done it. Why? Because they kept on, oh, maybe I'll do it later. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I'm not this enough. Why you was just telling me, Mike, listen, you can become the Prime Minister of the UK today if you want to. But it's a journey. Just embrace being on that journey, learn everything you got to learn, and just take it every day as it comes. You know, live in the moment. Like sometimes I don't even think about the future. I'm like, this is the time that I've got. I've got to treat it like it's my last. I'm enjoying talking to you, you know, having him, drinking this water. It's all fun. It's all good.
30 seconds, quick questions. Just want to ask you, who's your favourite fighter?
Yeah. James Toney. I love
James Toney.
Yeah.
We like James Toney. What's your favourite punch that you use?
Normally it's right to the body.
The right to the body.
Yeah, right.
That's
to
a
the body.
dangerous one.
Yeah.
That's what you love.
Yeah.
What's your favourite food, Michael?
Oh, I'm a foodie.
Are you?
I'm a proper foodie.
And it's not the chicken.
No, it's not the chicken, but it's there because I love it. I love it. I love the chicken as well. But I love.
Even
food.
though you got fired by KFC, can you still go back in? Will they look after you?
Only if I go to the one that worked before. They do. Or there was that.
Can I come with you?
If you
Bring
come,
the kids as well.
Yeah,
we'll get a big bucket together.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pay though. You have to pay for that. But yeah.
Look, we'll leave it like that. It's been brilliant. I could talk to you all day.
Thank
it's
you.
fantastic having you as part of GBM.
Yes.
It's brilliant having you on the scene. The boxing scene has certainly been brightened up by Michael King, Michael Lukali, Your Highness Junior. It's a journey. You've heard the journey here on The Voice of Boxing in association with Lounges TV, episode 5. I hope you've really, really got something out of it, because I could listen to him all day. It's inspirational. It's motivational. Follow Michael King's story, because we want to see where it ends. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate that.
Thank you for the monkey. Thanks to IKEA for providing the monkey. Thanks to KFC for firing the man next to me. He's now a fighter. He's a GBM man. He's with Al Siesta, and he says the sky's the limit. Terence Crawford, the world champions, he's gunning for you. He's coming to get you. He wants his fame.
Let's go.
Conor McGregor, he wants that fame.
All of it.
Michael King, we'll see what happens. Join us next time on The Voice of Boxing.